Hey all, Chris Bassett here, and I'm going to be changing the front brake pads of my daughter's 2007 Pontiac G5. Let's get into it. Her Pontiac has hubcaps, so we're going to start by removing those. You can either use the traditional tire iron or a 3/4 inch socket to remove the plastic bolts. Remember they're plastic, so don't wrench on them too hard. They should come loose, and then the whole cap will just pop right off. Once the hubcap is off, I like to break loose the lug nuts before I jack the car off the ground. That way it's not in the air and you're, applying a bunch of pressure, moving everything around, trying to break the lugs free. Right there is the jack spot. It's a solid part of the frame. I'm going to put the jack right there and then lift the vehicle into the air. So here everything's just loose. You can use a tire iron or that 3/4 inch socket or wrench. Once the vehicle is in the air and the tires off the concrete, put a jack stand under there just for safety. Alrighty, now we've completely removed the lug nuts, stored them in a safe location, and then we're going to remove the tire. Just yank it off, roll it to the side. You can set it down out of the way, and right there is your brake caliper and brake pads are on the inside. So in order to get that caliper off, you've got two bolts. You've got one on the bottom, right down here, and then one on the top right there. Gonna need to break those loose, take those out. I used a 9/16 wrench. I think it was millimeters, but this works. Just make sure you're going righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You may need to use a little bit of a hammer if it's rusted on there, and then take care of the brake line. Make sure you don't hit that or break that. Fully remove both brake caliper bolts, and then the caliper should come off. I had to hammer it a little bit to get it to come off because it's so rusty, but then place it up out of the way. Next, I used a flathead screwdriver to pry both the old brake pads out of place. They were also pretty rusty, so I had to hammer them and twist them to get them out. Alrighty, here's the new brake pads. Got them off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. Just want to go ahead and replace the spring clips here on both sides, the top and the bottom, and then you will slide the brake pad into position by pressing the tabs into the springs. And once the new brake pads are in place, they're much thicker, and so you'll have to depress the caliper to open it up to be able to get the caliper back on. Go ahead and open up the hood and find the brake fluid reservoir. Take the cap off the reservoir so you can vent. Once we depress the caliper, the fluid level will raise and it may kind of spill over. So here you're going to need a way to squeeze the caliper together. I've got a C-clamp. That works out well. And here you see the fluids raised up all the way and that the caliper is fully open. So now it should be able to slide over top of the brake pads. Don't forget to replace any brake fluid that spilled out and then put the cap back on. Next, put both brake caliper bolts in place and tighten those down. You can go ahead and throw your wheel back on and then snug up the lugs. Tighten up your lug nuts in a star-shaped pattern, alternating from top to bottom. Hey, check out this other video right here. I've got links to Amazon down in the description for the parts I used. Check out those links. Use those, no extra cost to you. Help out the channel. Any other questions or comments, but below. Thanks.